Hello, this is Mark Tyson writing his Cleave Bourbon, of course. Cleave Bourbon, Howling Path. This is my pronoun supplemental um, video that I'm going to come in here real quick with because people are asking me. The pronoun video for some reason has blown up, and a lot of people have really gotten into it. Pronouns are kind of difficult. So people are asking me about she and her, he and him, as far as you hear people all the time, especially here in Texas, you hear them say, me and her are going to the mall, and people say, well, is it her or is it she? Well, you have to remember, if you remember subjective case and objective case, she is subjective case, her is objective case, I is subjective case, me is objective case. So you would not say me and her are going to the mall because me and her are both objective case. You don't use objective case in the subjective. What that means is when I say subjective and objective, just to remind you, subjective means it's the subject of the sentence and it interacts with the verb. Objective means that it receives the action of the verb, but doesn't actually do any action. So it wouldn't be me and her are going to the mall. It'd be she and I are going to the mall because it'd be like if you said she is going to the mall, I am going to the mall, she is going to the mall, and not her is going to the mall or me is going to the mall. Because that's what you're saying when you say me and her are going to the mall. You're saying essentially her is going to the mall, and you're saying me is going to the mall. So obviously you're not going to do it that way. You're going to say I am going to the mall, or she is going to the mall. So it'd be she and I are going to the mall. Like friends, like John and a pronoun, it'd be like John and he are my friends, or John and she are my friends, because are is the verb and you want subjective case. I am friends with John and her. It works like that. So just remember, if you remember subjective case and objective case, you will remember which one to use. And you can actually use that in your writing or in your everyday speech if you want to sound more sophisticated. And I hear a lot in Texas that say, Dad and me are going fishing when it's, Dad and I. So why wouldn't you say I and Dad? Because technically that's correct, right? Because I is subjective. I and Dad are going fishing. Why would you not say that? Well, most of the time you use the proper noun first before the pronoun. So you wouldn't say I and Dad are going fishing because Dad's not really technically a proper noun. It's still a name. So you're going to use the name before you're going to use the pronoun. So it sounds a whole lot better to say Dad and I are going fishing than I and Dad. You just it's just kind of protocol. You just wouldn't say it that way. You'd probably put the name or the proper noun first. All right. Anyway, that was the short supplemental for the pronoun that people were asking about, and I wanted to jump in here and say something about that. I didn't know if anybody wanted any more information about relative pronouns, like this is the coffee that I like to buy. You can take your relative pronoun out and say this is the coffee I like to buy, and take the that completely out of there. If it makes sense without the relative pronoun, then by all means don't include it. I like to have these. Let's see. I like to have these coffees. I like to have coffees. I don't know. It's just weird. Relative pronouns are kind of strange anyway. The other thing I was going to say is I've gotten a request from one of you guys to do a video on where to get book covers. So my next actual video will be about the writing side of things. I've been kind of alternating them. I go writing, then I'll go like grammar, then I'll go writing, then I'll go grammar. So the next writing video, which will put out in the next day or so because I'm on spring break right now, is it's going to be over where do I find book covers, how do you find book covers, and the process of that. And I'll go into the actual process with one of my book cover designers that I use, and I'll show you how we go back and forth and stuff. I would have done that over the weekend. This weekend, today's Sunday. I would have done that this weekend, but I like to get permission before I put anybody's information on YouTube. So I wanted to contact her and make sure it's okay for me to put our correspondence down. Ironically, both designers I use, the one that did these covers here and my new covers that I'm having made right now, are one lives in Serbia and the other one lives in actually the Ukraine. So I don't know if she's in the United States now, but she is Ukrainian. She does speak native English, and both of them speak English really well. But most of the correspondence I have is over emails, but it is weird because, like, for example, the Serbian cover maker that I make, in the United States, we put month, date, year, and almost everybody else, I think everybody else in the whole world puts it um, date, month, year. So sometimes she says, I'll have that by this certain date, and it'll be, to me, it's reversed. And I'm like, you mean this date or that date? Because sometimes I can't, especially when you're in the single months, it's really hard to figure out. Like, it's like we are now, where this is the third month. So if they put like the fourth day, the third month, it'd be 4/3. She'll say like, I'll send it to you 4/3 or something like that, which means 3/4 to me. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a month away. You sure? And she's like, oh no, I have to reverse it. So sometimes when you're working with them, you have to realize that nobody except us uses month, date, year. Most people use date, month, year. Anyway, so this series here, where you see the Harrowing Path, the Shadows of the First Trine, I'm actually doing version 2. This book is with the editor right now. This is the first chapter I showed you a couple of videos ago, where I was working with Courtney Humphreys, my editor, and she was actually putting together. I was actually doing the first chapter. I illustrated. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm doing the second edition. My whole complete fantasy series is complete. It is complete. So I've got a little bit of writing to do, a little bit of tweaking here and there still on later books, but I'm about 99% complete with it. So I'm like getting ready to go into it. So I'm doing the second edition. And the reason why is because there was a lot of things that I wanted to do. And I've changed this series so many times. I'm one of the biggest mistakes, and I'll do a later video on this. As a published author, I made a lot of mistakes on this first go around with this series. It was called a different name. I published it under my real name. I decided not to publish under my real name because my real name is Mark Tyson, and it gets mixed up with Mike Tyson, and I get lost. If you Google me, it ends up immediately bringing up Mike Tyson pages, and so I changed it to Cleave Bourbon, and I chose that name, as I've explained before, so that it would be top of the alphabet, when Tyson is pretty much at the bottom. And it's also, if you type in Cleave Bourbon, spelled Cleave with an A, and not like the regular name Cleave is spelled, it immediately just brings up me and all my stuff. And I did that the other day just to see what was out there, and I found that there's a lot of books that are defunct now that no longer exist. So, especially on Amazon, my books don't exist there yet because I took them all down. I still have. I'm talking about this series. This series here is still there. It's still up. I'm working on this series next, and actually, I'm working on the fourth book in the series right now. But this series is finished. I'm talking about this one. It's going to have the second edition. So it'll have a new poster behind me pretty soon. So I'm going to do the cover reveal here on YouTube here in about, I don't know, a few days. I've already got the cover. It's spectacular. It's a lot better than well, I wouldn't say it's a lot. Well, I guess it is a lot better than this. It's more traditional. Because my series is like a Dragonlance. I wouldn't say Lord of the Rings too much, but Dragonlance, Wheel of Time, David Eddings, the Bulgariad. It's that kind of old school, like 80s type of traditional fantasy series. So because of that, I have more of a traditional fantasy series cover that I had made, and I'm going to be putting the map in. It's going to be real fancy, and the second edition. So I'm really working hard on it. So it's going to come out. So those of you who are wanting to buy my work and you're wanting the fantasy series and it sounds interesting, just hold off. Wait a minute. Just wait until the second edition, and I'll tell you when it's going to be released and everything. I'm going to release one book, and I'll probably release all 6 about a month apart when I start releasing. So if you want my work right now, you can get the Tournament of Mages, this series here. I'm not changing it much. I am going to do some work on it, but it's not finished. It still has, let's see, 1, 2, 3. It still has 4 books that I'm writing. It's a lot shorter series too. It's not necessarily a traditional fantasy like my epic fantasy is. It's more of a paranormal type fantasy set in like a medieval fantasy setting, kind of. It really doesn't have a category, I don't think, really, to be honest. It's Hunger Games with mages. So instead of every kingdom has a different mage that uses a different kind of magic. And these different mages, like Red Mage here, she's blood magic, and the second book is Blue Mage. He's elemental magic. The third book is black magic, necromancer type stuff. The fourth book is nature magic. The fifth book is like stuff like gravity and portals and mentalism kind of magic. And the book after that, the White Mage, she is song and dance. Her spells are all song and dance related, like bardic kind of, and so forth. But anyway, that series, I don't. It's available everywhere, and I don't plan on changing the covers or anything on it. Not anytime soon, anyway. But this series, working on it. So if you like traditional fantasy and you like, you know, stuff like Dragonlance and things like that, then this is the series for you. But it's not out quite yet. But I will tell you guys first. Whoever subscribes here on Instagram, here, any of my social media will know about it first before anybody else. But it's in the works. I'll reveal the new cover here shortly. But like I said, my next video is about how to find the cover artists and doing covers, especially on a budget that doesn't break the bank. There are a couple of options that I've used that have been phenomenal. And I will go over that next. And then after that, the next video after that is another grammar. It will be the adjectives and adverb video. So anyway, I just wanted to jump on here and give you this supplemental video to tell you about what's coming up. And I wanted to answer those questions in person about pronouns. If you have any more questions about pronouns or any of the grammar stuff that I put on here, just put in the comments below and I'll answer the question either in a video or I'll send an answer to you right away. I will be getting into more advanced grammar later in the class. Listen to me. I think I'm teaching again. I do teach online. That's why I say that. But anyway, I will be getting into more advanced grammar towards later on here. And we'll talk about clauses and phrases and things like that. But for now, I'm just going to stick with what I'm doing with the parts of speech. And it's always good to brush up on that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm rambling and you're letting me. So I'm going to get out of here and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.